The Brickyard is going back to the oval. Brandon Jones is going to JRM, and Ford reveals the new Mustang. Also, Jeremy Clements is back in the Xfinity playoffs. Let's talk about it. Coming up next. What is going on, everybody? Hope you are doing good today. All right, the NASCAR schedule was released, and I will drop it here in front of you so you can see what it looks like. But the big takeaways were the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series will both be racing at the Chicago Street Race. There will be back-to-back road course races in the Cup Series, and the Milwaukee Mile will be back for the trucks and maybe Xfinity Series. I can't remember if it was one of them or both of them, but basically the Milwaukee Mile is back. And also, Ben Kennedy went on NASCAR Sirius XM radio, and they posted this on their Twitter, where he talked about Indianapolis, the Brickyard 400 will at some point go back to the oval from the road course. Let's hear what he had to say.
I'd say on the Indy front, we'll be going back to the road course again in 2023. So I think that said, and, I've been working with Doug Bowles and the team on this. The Brickyard 400 on the oval was always, something special and such a marquee event that when we go back to the oval, and, we will go back to the oval, at some point, really want to make it, that marquee event that it was. Really want to try to find a way to make that something special in the future when that time does happen.
All right, so no timeline given, but he said a couple of things that are really key there that I wanted to touch on. He said when it comes back, at whatever time that it comes back, they want to make it a special event. They want to make it a marquee event. They want to make it a crown jewel again. So right there, I think Ben Kennedy gets it, and nothing against Steve Phelps. Steve Phelps works really hard. Steve Phelps wants to do the best job he can do, but Steve Phelps comes from an NFL background. I don't think he necessarily understands the NASCAR culture. Ben Kennedy does. Ben Kennedy has been a racer in the Truck Series. Ben Kennedy gets the culture of NASCAR and NASCAR fans. So as long as they shift more decisions toward Ben Kennedy and the more power and the higher up the food chain that Ben Kennedy gets, I think the better it's going to be, because Ben Kennedy at least gets the culture. Jeremy Clements is back in the Xfinity Series playoffs. This was overshadowed by the news of Kyle Busch going to RCR, so I wanted to cut a separate video about that. So Jeremy Clements, I was about to say Ben Kennedy again. Jeremy Clements is back in the Xfinity Series playoffs. Xfinity Series has still yet to set their playoffs. It will be finally set at the race in Bristol, so still time for Sheldon Creed and everybody else to try to get themselves into the playoffs. But, Jeremy Clements is in the playoffs, and that's a good thing. But it is kind of weird that the Xfinity hasn't started their playoffs. The Truck Series has had their playoff going for about a month now, but they've also had about a month off, and the NASCAR Cup Series is almost to its second round in the playoffs. So it's just sort of a weird time in NASCAR right now, where some people are still in the regular season, some people are in the playoffs, and some people are deep in the playoffs. It's kind of weird. You think they would time it a little bit better, but that's neither here nor there. All right, Junior Motorsports announced that Brandon Jones will be replacing Noah Gragson in the 9 car, and a lot of people are up in arms about it. And I'm just going to give my take on it. Brandon Jones is one of the most hated people for no reason in all of NASCAR. He came in, he was originally with Richard Childress. He had a rough start to his Xfinity career. But if you look at his Xfinity career, where a lot of people were saying he's just a young rich kid and he's paying for a ride, okay, he might have some funding behind him. He might be a young rich kid. But if you look at him, he has gotten better, significantly better, every single year that he has been in the Xfinity Series. And he has continued to improve and grow. And that's really all you can ask for in a race car driver. So I'm all on board with it. I'm glad he's getting an opportunity. And hopefully he can show enough to further his career however he wants to further his career and continue on doing what he loves doing. All right, and finally, we have the brand new Mustang. I expect a new nose coming for the Mustang either next year or the year after that. But Ford released it, and the street version, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not a big fan of the street version. I think the previous version looked a little better, but full disclosure, this is coming from a guy who owned a 94 Mustang, probably one of the ugliest Mustangs of all time, and it was a beat-up Mustang. I got it at a discount price. I needed cheap wheels at the time, and I was like, well, why not buy the Mustang instead of a front-wheel drive car? Because, You're only 20 once. But that thing was a piece, and it was ugly. So I owned one of the ugliest Mustangs of all time. But that being said, even though I don't like the street version of this, here is the Australian V8 Supercar version, which you would imagine the NASCAR Cup Series version would look very similar to this. So actually in race trim, this thing does not look too bad, but I think the other one, the older version looks better. Maybe they'll put a Shelby kit or Shelby package on it and make it look better. But yeah, that is all I got for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed the content. If you did, feel free to subscribe down below. It helps the channel out a whole lot, and I really appreciate it. And everyone who's already subscribed, I appreciate you guys as well. If you got a comment, question, or anything like that, leave it down in the comments section. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.